Rhonda Leach. Man, it's crazy work. Crazy.
Yeah. Go ahead and live your life. That dream got you moving wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Woo.
I'm a trip. I'm a joke. I be laughing, man. I'm a character. I am a
I'm a
motherfucking
trip. I'm a
character.
joke. I be laughing, man.
I am a character. I be saying some shit, Lily. I be watching these playbacks. I be like, man, you is a character. You something else. Like, damn. The thing is, at 7, I might as well not really eat. Then I might as well just grab a little snack. I didn't even skate. I didn't even skate today. I didn't even skate. Shout out to Red Furnace though. Oh man. Can somebody hit the like button? Y'all can't hit the like for me? For real. I see y'all in here. Hit the like button. I'm only on here for a couple more minutes. I'm about to split. I don't know if I'll be back later on this evening. Yeah, but like I said, I got a dinner engagement later on. I got a dinner engagement I got to go to. Excuse me, y'all. I'm on a mission right now. I can't tell y'all what the mission is. I got some other shit going on right now, Red Furnace, in real time. In real time. Y'all just stay tuned. I'm trying to make some real moves right now. I'm trying to make a good move right now. It's coming though. That's right. Just hold tight. Gotta step your game up every now and then. You gotta step your shit up every now and then. Now I'm just trying to step my game up a little bit. Just trying to step it up. That's all I'm trying to do. 5 people and 1 like. I know you, man. Hit the like button. I know y'all ain't hating like that. I know y'all ain't hating like that. I be feeling good vibes up in here. I don't be thinking y'all hating. I don't know. You don't have to do me like that. You really don't. It could be, I mean, come on. But it's whatever. And that's your like. That's what I'm like, so what? So there's what, 5 haters up in here? Mm-mm. I think if you don't like me like that, you should get at me. I ain't tough. I'm just an old guy. I'm just an old guy. If it's like that, speak your mind then. Uh-uh. That's an easy fix. No way. Please speak your mind. Anthony Oglesby is with the shenanigans. I am. Oh, this Anthony. This, oh man, run the clock, run it. But I don't think it's that type of time because I ain't that type of dude. But if it was that type of time, I'm that type of dude. But I ain't that type of dude, so it's not that type of time. So I just think there's some nosy people in here. They just in here. They just in here. They just here. They just here. I really think so. They just here. You know what I mean? Now, I don't think it's no hate. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it is, Lily. I have no idea. But my subscribers are going up. My followers are going up. That's the cold part. I'm getting motion. It. I mean, I see the stats. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Now I might do small numbers on my lives, but my playbacks no. Every playback is neither 800 or up. 800 views and up. So that's good. That means it's moving. For a minute it was like at 4,000 views and shit, you know, my playbacks and shit. And then it died down to like 100 views. It got real weak for a minute, real dry. But we get in motion again. And every time I live stream, I'm getting about 5 or 6 subscribers. And I'm cool with that. I could dig that. Here's the thing. I'd rather have 8 people or 5 people watching my feed than nobody. That's a fact right there. I don't want a room where it's over 100 people. I know what that feel like. I saw it. I've streamed before and had over 100 people in here last year around this time. Around this time last year, that's the crazy part. Around this time last year, I would do live streams and I'll be doing 100 shit. Sometimes it'll be 200 people in the fucking room. And I would think it would be bots. It would be so many motherfuckers in here. I would think it was botted. That's a fact. You remember that, Lily? It was unbelievable. I didn't want to believe it because that was too much motion. It was. I've seen that. I've been in that room. I don't like that type of energy. 170, 180 people. Mm-mm. That's too many. That's too many eyes on you. That is too many eyes on you. Slow that motherfucking shit down. Hey, give me a good. Yeah, you had to convince me it was real people. It took me a while to figure it out. Like, okay, your shit is moving again. I just played myself with the monetization shit, and that's why we're back at this shit right now. If I wouldn't have lost my monetization, I wouldn't have lost my audience. And that's as simple as that. And it's not just me that's getting low numbers. That's why I don't take it offense no more. I actually took it offense when I lost all my numbers and stuff. But I watch a lot of other people's platforms that are like big time content creators, and they can't even get no views right now. They can't even, like Bolo the producer, he used to get 200 and 300 people in his room, He can't even get a solid 50 people in his room right now. He's only getting like 30 people. Or ESG, DJ ESG. He's only getting, these dudes are major people, and they're not even cracking 100 people right now. So, and I've seen these guys. They made videos regarding this type of activity with producers, and this is a huge problem. Not just with me, with just anybody who make beats on YouTube. That's facts. Shout out to you, Miss Cooley. So I'm chilling. That's once I saw Bull make the video, I you know, I stopped taking offense to this shit. I actually was taking offense to it. Nah, don't take offense. That's just how this shit is going down right now. But see, when I post my skateboard videos, I do numbers immediately. Immediately. All my skateboard shorts, I just posted a video the other day. Over 1,000 views. You don't need my number. You don't need my number for shit. You want to do some type of business, only thing you got to do is hit the DM on Instagram. And unless you on some weirdo shit. Unless you on some, don't be hitting my shit up for no weird. If you want trying to do business, buy a skateboard or something, that's motherfucking cool. But don't be trying to hop up in my shit for some weird shit. The fuck you talking about, dude? Hit the like button. And I'm trying to learn how to talk to YouTube. That's another factor. I'm learning. I've been doing this shit forever. And I used to be extremely reckless, but I'm as far as talking, I'm trying to learn how to talk without cussing and other things and saying certain words, because when you leave profanity out your dialogue, that helps your algorithm. It does. It helps it a whole lot. If you could do a whole live without cussing and saying certain words or talking about certain situations, you know, that stuff, it helps your algorithm. And see, I cuss like a sailor on here. That's a fact. I'm a work in progress. Or talking about the LBGT. I gotta stay away from all that shit. You know, talking about the president, talking about, I'm just saying, all that type of activity, I gotta stay away from that shit. That shit triggers the algorithm. It to put you in a small place, or at least slow you down. That's a fact. These live feeds, it slows down the conscience, the woke. Thank you, Ill or Lil. I appreciate you. Those are boards out my catalog. I've been making skateboards since 2006, man. It's been a long ride. Next year it'll be 20 years. I'm dropping a video part at 51 years old. It'll be dropping next year. I got an album coming out next year. I got a book dropping next year. And you'll be able to go on the website and pick and purchase any one of the boards that I've made in my catalog in the last 20 years. The whole catalog will be available. 20 years of Delic. And I have a nice catalog. I got about 70 boards on my belt. That's facts. And all the boards are going to be available next year. From the first Delic all the way to the present. I'm reissuing everything. Hit the like button. I'm about to split though in a couple minutes. I'm going to leave right at 5. I'm going to leave right at 5. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I need to put a new board together anyways, since we're talking about See, I got my own little stack. Like I keep a stack of boards on me. Those are my boards. And I like to ride. The thing with me, I feel like with a skateboard, I like to put a new board together, but I ride a board best when it's broken in, when it's all worn out, when it's all worn in, fucking. It's all broken, chipped up and shit. That's when it's when it's used up. That's when I really like to ride my boards. And I know I need to change my board. I need to put a new one together. But it's fucked up, right? But I'm comfortable on it. You know what I mean? I don't want to change it. I like how it feels. See, that's another thing people don't understand about skateboarding. You know, I to me, I think it's spiritual. I mean, when I say how it feels, I can't explain it. But my boards have to feel a certain way under my feet. That's facts. They have to feel is a certain feel. And when I put a new board together, I could tell immediately if I got a good setup or if I'm riding some bullshit. Because sometimes, like not every board is good. Sometimes the wood is bad. Sometimes the wood isn't good. I always go through that. What I mean by that, like, it don't have it's just something. Some boards just don't have that pop. I don't know why. But I know in the first minute when I put a new board together, the minute I step on it, I'll know if it's hot or not. Even down with my wheels, I have to ride a certain size wheel. Right now, I know exactly. It took me many years to figure that out. The setup that I'm riding, the setup that I'm currently riding, that took years. That took years for me to get it to this point. Like, okay, this is what I'm riding right here. This is the setup. This is my go-to setup. It took years, like 8 years to figure that out. Of riding different wheels, different size boards, different trucks. But I tell you one thing. When I got that 8.125 and I got on those fucking Ace trucks, when I got the Ace trucks and I got those 53 wides, I don't like slims, and I learned that. It took me years to learn that because there's a difference between wide wheels and slim wheels, and I've been going back and forth trying to understand it. And one thing, I don't know why, but when I ride wider wheels, that's the cheat code. It's something about those wide wheels. So I ride these 53 wides. And every skateboarder has their setup. Every skateboarder does. It just takes a minute to figure it out. Yeah. I know you guys are probably like, what the fuck is he talking about? That's like you and your BMX tires. I could dig it. Yeah. I used to ride BMX in the early days before the skateboarding. That was the predecessor to BMX, to skateboarding was BMX. You know, but I come from an older era during the GT era. I'm talking about way back. PK Rippers, Diamondback, you've been riding since 87. Yeah, so you know these brands I'm talking about. Skyway rims. You know, I used to ride Skyways back in the day. And here's the dope part about Skyways If you bent up, because those rims used to bend back in the day. The legend was, if you bend up those Skyway rims, you could put them in the freezer, and they would straighten up again. Them rims were like a hard plastic. Cause back in the day, Mongoose came out with the spider rims, like in '81. You know what I'm talking about? I used to fuck with the bikes heavy. The red lines and shit. I was fully into it. And it just changed overnight. It changed overnight. Shout out to you, Three Stripes. I appreciate you, man. It just changed over instantly. I was at the bike track. I always share this story on here. You talk, yeah. I had some yellow Skyways. Talk about the Z rims, yes. I always share this story. Me and my cousin, we was at the BMX track, riding our bikes. Just finished getting it in. Full session on the bikes. Motherfucking we go back to his house. These two dudes came by with some skateboards. My cousin had an empty swimming pool. And these two dudes came by with these skateboards. And they asked my cousin, can they ride in his pool? They said, can we skate your pool? My cousin said, yeah. We all went in the backyard. This is how it went down. I was riding BMX at this point. And these two guys, Billy Miranda, Jason Rothmeyer, straight up. They went in the pool and they were trying to, they couldn't go, the deep end got the light. The deep end got the light, for underwater and shit. And they were trying to go in from the shallow end and go over the light. And I didn't know what it was, but it was destiny. Something told me like, yo, you could do this shit. I promise you. I asked OG, I said, yo, can I try your skateboard? I think I could do it. And he handed me the board. And this is, I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I've never even rode a board before. I got on the fucking board, and as soon as I went down, I went up in the deep end, and I went over the light. And I'll never forget that rush to this day. And it's been on and popping ever since that day. I've never rode a board before, but I got on that bitch and went over that light. And that was the jump off point. No way. And I watched these dudes, they were trying to do this shit for about 20 minutes. You guys understand that? This is way before Danny Way days. This is way before that. This is 1983. This is 1983 right here. 84. This is early in the game. I've never even seen a lawn tramp at this point. This is the predecessor to the lawn tramp. This is right before the lawn tramps came. The lawn tramp era. Yeah. I beg. 84, 83. 84, 83. I'm a timeline at 83 though. Summer 83. I'm safe with saying that. Because I can timeline that shit. I can timeline it. Because I remember, because right after that, my mom bought me a bunch, she didn't know no better, but she bought me a skateboard, a shitty ass skateboard from Jimco. And she bought me a few of those as a little starter kit. My first legit board, I didn't get that shit that was bought out of a store. My first board that was actually bought out of a fucking skateboard. My mom didn't buy me my first legit, she bought me my first board. There's a difference between a skateboard from like a Target or something like that. You hear me? There's a difference from a skateboard from a Target versus getting your first board out of a skate shop. I rode a bunch of trash until 1986. 1986, Christmas 1986 is when I got my first legit board. My Aunt Jean, she drove me to the motherfucking sporting goods store. That's facts. She drove me to the sporting goods store and she told me I could get anything I want. She said, get whatever you want up out of here. And I got a Madrid thruster. I got my first board was a Madrid. First board out of a skate shop was a Madrid thruster sitting on underground trucks and Madrid fly wheels. With Madrid fly paper grip tape. And she bought me some knee pads. That was my first legit pair of Rector knee pads. She bought me some Rector knee pads. That was the man. No way. This is early in the game. This is so fucking early. Way early. This shit. This is right before I started figuring this shit out. XH, I don't know what that is. That must be some bike shit. That must be some bike shit. I forgot about that story too. That's a good story because I remember how excited I was. That's facts. Aunt Jean was always dope. She always showed me love. That was my paw sister. I never been to Payless. I don't know nothing about that. That's a fact. I ain't never went to Payless. There's no shade to anybody that have went. That's crazy. That's crazy. My Aunt Jean was a motherfucker. My Aunt Jean, I can't say her name, like her real name or whatever, but as I got older, I realized what it was and stuff because she was exposing a lot of game to me. I'm gonna talk about her in the book also. See what I will reveal. My Aunt Jean, I didn't understand it when I was young, but as an adult, that shit is like pretty cool. But my Aunt Jean, she's like a very, very, very high ranking of a sorority, of one of these black sororities. I can't say who it is or whatever, but she's like one like the hierarchies. Like the shit is crazy, cause she was exposing me to the game. Like other shit. She used to take me to college campuses and shit when I was very young and shit. That's a fact. And she was showing me another side of the game. And I remember going with her to the college campuses and Like this lady was really connected, like with the fraternity and sorority life. Like she's like a Don Dada. Yeah, I can't. I know exactly what it is. I just ain't putting it out there like that. That shit is cool also. I forgot about that. Why? I ain't forget about it. I just ain't talked about it. That's a fact. That's the 80s. We're talking 80s life right here. This is 80s. I don't know what song I would do with that. I have to figure. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta get the playlist. I gotta get the playlist. I ain't gonna know shit till I get the playlist of the album. Then when I listen to it, I could be like, okay, this is what it is. But that story is that 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 story is very significant because that was game changing. So you think it's already been made? Yeah. I'll put the name. I already have names for all the tracks and stuff, but I gotta there's this I gotta do a couple sequences, and that's how I'm gonna figure out more titleization. I don't have titles right now for the project. I don't have titles because I'm all over the place with the book. I'm literally am because there's so much shit to cover. That's facts. It is. It's a lot of shit to cover. And that's why I want to hurry up and finish this, get these last 8 songs so I can get back into that. Just get back into my zone and shit like that. And I want to shut down the stream for a minute and just finish this thing. Cuz I started it and I think about it all the time while I'm doing other shit, but it's time to get back into it and complete it. And my best direction right now is instead of trying to tell one story, I figured this out. It took me this long. Where I'm fucking up at is I'm trying to write. Fuck telling one big story because it's like it sounds like a script. No, just write down all your episodes. That's all. Just write down all your episodes, and I'm gonna present this shit like a memoir. If that makes sense. I don't want it to be like a story because if it's like a story, because if it's like a story and shit, then I'm gonna have to change. Then it's like I'm changing the names. I'm not changing none of the names. I'm not doing none of that shit. No way. I'm not doing none of that shit. Keeping it 1,000 on this motherfucker. This is my legacy right here. But I'm trying to do it like a story, but at the same time, I'm. I know, man. I just gotta just keep writing. I just gotta keep writing. That's all I gotta keep doing, and just keep thinking about different things. That's the only way it's gonna come together. I just gotta just keep thinking about different things. I'm not doing it some shit and you know, and on this day, yada 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 happened, and wooty whoop whoop, and weedy weep weep. No, what I could do, I could write a bunch of this bunch of different shit, but I once I do that, I could sequence my stories. I could look at everything, and then I know how to timeline it. I could look at everything I written, and then I could timeline it. I think that makes sense. Right now, I'm just writing a bunch of shit, but once I feel like I got enough dialogue, I could I could timeline that shit and start putting arranging everything. And that's the best way to do it. Cause some days I think about the '90s, some days I think about this in the '80s, some days I think about shit in the '70s. But if I sit here and try to do like in a story mode and yada yada yada, that shit takes longer. No way. I like to write shit down, like my memories and shit. I like I like I like to write shit down whenever I'm fully in that emotion. If that makes sense. Let's say if I'm chilling and I'm sitting here having a thought and I'm thinking about some shit that happened back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And I can and it was some fucked up shit or whatever. And you know, and I might be just in that moment or whatever. That's when I want to write that shit down, because I'm gonna write it down in full detail at that point. I'm gonna tell you how hot it was outside. I'm gonna tell you what time it was. That's my writing style. When I write, I'm like in full detail. I'm gonna tell you what kind of socks a motherfucker have on. I'm gonna tell you if that chick was on her motherfucking period. The whole fucking nine. Do you understand what I'm saying? With that being said, I'm so detailed with my writing and shit, my writing style. I just have to just keep this right memories. This right. Cause I say funny shit. My writing is funny. Just like how I said right there. Just for example, I just said something crazy. I'll tell you if this chick was on her period or not. I'm just saying, so you can imagine the type of shit I'm gonna say in this fucking book. That's what I'm saying. That my writing style is crazy. I want it to be. It's like I'm serious. I'm serious, but at the same time, I make it laughable because of the detailing, the extras that I put in there. Absolutely. No way. But that's how I see shit. I'm really in detail when I see shit. I'm in detail. Big detail. I'm not when I see stuff, I'm a straightforward person when I make moves, but when I see forward, I also see everything. And I've always been like that. I see the shit that most people don't pay attention to. You know, like if there was an old ass making something up. If it was just like an old ass soda can in the gutter, I'm gonna remember that. Absolutely. If there was a fire truck going by at the time of that event, then I'm gonna tell you that shit. But that's how you get a good story though. That's how you get scenery. Cause I like when I talk, I like people to actually kind of see like feel what man, where I was at with the shit. I don't know why I'm just in detail like that with everything. And sometimes I be so much in detail, motherfuckers be thinking I be lying. And this is the thing, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not everything I say in this book that's getting ready to come out is all truth. This is all truth. This is all truth. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm different. I'm motherfucking different. I undid shit in life that a lot of people ain't been able to do. And I'm gonna share all this shit. I'm gonna share some stories that nobody has never ever heard. And I undone the unbelievable. That's facts. I undone shit men undreamed about. That's a motherfucking fact. I'm just keeping it 1,000. Like I said, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna like man. I'm gonna tell y'all in my own words. I ain't gonna be lying. The shit is I'm just gonna. Only thing I'm gonna wait for. I know I'm about to tell you a good story, but I'm just waiting for the response. And that's what I'm saying. Like I learned to stop telling motherfuckers like back in the day when I used to be doing shit or whatever. I learned to keep shit to myself because I used to be sharing shit with motherfuckers and they used to say I be lying. They used to tell me I'm lying. So I stopped telling motherfuckers. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna talk about it one day though. No way. And I mean that shit. I undone the unbelievable. My stories are doubtful. My stories, motherfuckers put doubt to my stories. And then you got some cats that really know me when I be speaking and shit. They're like, nope, he ain't lying. He telling the truth, y'all. Yeah, that shit really happened. That shit really happened. See, there's people that really know you. They'll sit there and co-sign. They're like, nah, that shit really happened. That shit really happened. But a lot of time, the people that don't know you, they'll doubt the shit you say. It's only the ones that really know you, are gonna that's facts. And there's only a couple people that really know me, that really motherfuckers don't know me, but there's a couple people that really know me. So when I used to make certain moves and do certain things, it didn't surprise them because they already knew what the fuck it was. No way. I was an angry mother deer, and the dog. What it was a. People never believed me when I told them I stopped a deer from attacking my neighbors. Oh. That's believable. That's believable right there. No way. I'm about to. That's believable right there. No way. Mm-mm. I got some good stories, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. I got some good stories. It's coming. I got some good stories. Let me tell you something. I ain't never hurt nobody. I ain't never killed nobody. I ain't never disrespect nobody. I ain't never did anything to hurt nobody. But I got some stories though. And I gotta say that because I'm 50 years old. So I'm just saying, man, I got some stories. Some real good stories. No way. Like I tell this story all the time to you guys, but when I tell you guys the story on the day I left California to go to New Orleans, that trip in detail, that shit is funny as fuck. That shit is funny as hell. Like reading a book, you guys are gonna be laughing your ass off and shit like that. The way I write it down and my thoughts and the things that were, man. No, dude. There's almost got kidnapped on that trip. 97, when I drove to New Orleans, almost got kidnapped on that trip. Real Texas chainsaw murder type shit. Yep. But my dog saved me. My dog Brandy. My pit bull, she saved the day. That's facts. I'm not even exaggerating. This is pre-cell phone. This is 97. Out in the middle of nowhere. In my car, I had a blowout. And this man showed up. This motherfucking man showed up. He fucking showed up and he asked me, was everything okay? He didn't know my dog was in the back of the car. He didn't know my dog was in the back because I had tinted windows. And I said, yeah. He was like, you got a flat tire and shit. So he helped me put the spare tire on. It's movie shit. He helped me put the spare tire on. And he told me to follow him to this little tire shop in the middle of nowhere. And I did that shit too. And they put a brand new tire on my fucking car. And I felt the energy crazy. I felt like something crazy was about to happen. And then guess what? And guess what? I knew I wasn't wrong. I knew I wasn't wrong. Cause right when I felt the energy was fucked up, the whole time I had a pit bull tucked away in the back of the RX-7, just chilling. Brandy was in the back through all this shit going down the tire and shit. She in the back of the RX-7 just chilling and shit. When I started feeling like shit was getting weird, my dog, see, when they saw the dog at the windshield, they gave me the tire. They said, you know what, you can have the tire. They was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I'm trying to tell you, something was about to pop off. Right then and there. I got in that motherfucking car. I didn't stop until I got all. This happened in Arizona. I didn't stop until I got into New Mexico. I got the fuck out of Arizona. This is not even in Arizona. This is in New Mexico. This happened right out of Las Cruces. Right out of Las Cruces on the I-10 in the middle of nowhere. I had a blowout. I didn't stop until I got to El Paso. This is in the 90s. I was scared as fuck. But my dog knew some fuck shit was about to go down. Brandy knew. And she saved my ass. That's facts. My dog knew some shit was about to pop off. And when they saw Brandy was trying to get out that motherfucker, cause my dog ain't never act crazy like that. But she was trying to get out that motherfucker. And I believe she would have did some Cujo shit and bust through that fucking window if they would have fucked with me. She would have ran that play. She would have ran it. But she brought enough energy for them to back off and give me the tire. And that's a true story, y'all. That's a true story. And I was so scared. I was so scared. I just got back in my car. I had a full tank. And I remember I was just petting my fucking dog, just telling her thank you the whole time. The whole time. Just thank you. That's facts. This is a true story. And then when we stopped at the rest area, you know what I'm saying? It's a trip. It's like my dog understood the mission. She understood the mission. My dog was a major key player that ride from LA to New Orleans in '97. She was very instrumental in that ride. Absolutely. Even down to, there was another situation when I was in the middle of nowhere. I was out in the middle of nowhere. Like, dude, somewhere where the next stop was like 100 miles to the next gas station type of situation. I was driving and I remember falling asleep, and I'm telling y'all the truth. This is the truth. Every time I was falling asleep, my motherfucking dog would lick my face and wake me up. Man, this is real movie shit. Every time I doze off, Brandy will lick me in the face, and I'll come back. I'll wake up again, and she kept me up just enough to make it to that rest stop. That's facts. She was a pit bull brindle. This is probably one of the smartest dogs I ever seen in my life. Like, remember I told you she was in the back of the hatchback the whole ride. But in the wee hours of the night, when I was starting to fall asleep or whatever, her ass hopped up right there and got right next to me like a human. And just looked. She just looked. Just looking towards the windshield. I remember that. This like a human. And every time I like dozed off, she just licked me and shit. And this is so old. There was no 5-hour energy. There was no Red Bull. Back in the day, we was popping no-dos. Who remember that? No-dos. That's how far back this was. No-dos. And that shit even didn't work. Yeah, that whole story is crazy. Just that ride from in '97. That was a crazy story. That was the only thing, look, that was the only thing available back in those days was no-do. They didn't have no 5-hour energy and all this other shit. They didn't have none of that. It was no-dos. That's it. And I remember, I travel all the time prior to this. But when I did this trip, I remember because my mom, she was worried about me. You know what I mean? So what I did, every time I made a stop, whatever city I got to, I'll call her up, be like, because we didn't have cell phones back then. All right, I'm here in Texas. I'll call you in about 7 hours. I'll be in San Antonio. That's how I did it. Every main city I got to, that's when I made a call. But that's how people did it back in the day. That's how people traveled back in the day. They didn't have cell phones. Whenever you got to the city, you'll hit the phone booth and you drop your location. That's facts. I pulled up in New Orleans. 1997 with a quarter-pound of weed, a pregnant pit bull, and about $400 in my pocket. That's facts. That's my entry point to the city. I had a quarter-pound of weed stuffed away in the fucking motor. I can't make this shit up. Yeah, that's how I got on. This, this FBT, that's how I got on in the city. That's how see. There's different eras of me in New Orleans. When I got this is during the dog fighting era. I don't condone dog fighting and stuff, but this is during the bout. You gotta talk about this is '97 New Orleans. You know, you coming out here with some California pit bulls. I'm just keeping it a buck. You coming out here with some California pups. No, I got her pregnant on purpose when I left. That was on purpose. Let me tell you something. FBT, this is in the book. On my way out, when I left, I did two things before I got on that 91 freeway to get on that I-10 to go to New Orleans. I did two things in 97. I stopped at the weed man and bought me a quarter-pound of weed for $150. And I went to my home girl and got my dog and locked my dog up real quick. Locked her up in real time. Soon as they finished locking up, man, man, we drove to New Orleans. I can't make this shit up. That shit happened all back to back. Right after they locked up, I got on that motherfucking freeway and drove to New Orleans. I get to New Orleans. My mom will even tell you this. This is all in the book. Crazy shit. I showed up and shit, and my mom used to have a beautiful yard. My dog had them puppies on the 4th of July, 1997. Okay, you hear me? My mom a G for this. My mom had a beautiful yard. I had to get rid of them dogs. My mom had a whole litter of pit bulls tearing up her fucking backyard. Beautiful brindles. Had about 10 of them motherfuckers running around. Hey, I didn't know nobody. Look, check this shit out. I'm so fresh in the motherfucking city. I couldn't get these pups off like that. I had to give some of them dogs away. I sold some, but I had to give some of them away. A lot of them dope dealers was buying my dogs. Beautiful litter. Yeah, it's 5:30 already. I might as well just wait till I go eat. I already told myself I'm just gonna wait till I go eat now. Nah, my entry point to New Orleans is crazy. How that shit went down. I started off on some dog shit in New Orleans. That's how I was getting my coins in the beginning. Fucking with them dogs out there. And then my first job in New Orleans, was at a gas station. I was at a gas station in New Orleans checking motherfucking. Back in the day, everybody. Back in the day, this is a long time ago. They don't have this anymore. But many moons ago, when you went to the gas station, they had the regular gas pumps. And then they had this little area where you drive in and you run over this little bell. And this guy will fucking come out. And you will just sit in your fucking car. And the guy will fucking check your tires. He will motherfucking fill your gas up and shit like that. And you know, all this other shit. You hear me? That shit was called the full service. You would check the motherfucking oil and all that. My first job in New Orleans, I was the full service guy. at the Exxon gas station. You heard me? I'll give, this is all in the book because I got a Cain and Abel story. My Cain and Abel story happened at that gas station. When Cain and Abel tried to come up to the gas station, they popped up in the Benz and shit back in the day. They came up in the full service and shit. Fuck Cain and Abel. They some clowns for this shit. And they came all up in there and shit. And I had the little Exxon shirt on and shit like that. But that karma came back on them later in the game. I had on a little Exxon shirt. And they came in there in the Benz and shit, the big body Benz, the bubble eye Benz. I never forget that. They came in there with some bitches, with some chicks and shit, and they were, I was pumping their gas, and checking their tires and shit. And and look, when I came out here to New Orleans, I didn't have no equipment, but I had a beat tape with me. I had a beat tape. I had a tape with some beats on that motherfucker. You heard me? And I saw these dudes, okay? And I got at them. I said, yo, I just got out. This dude, I'm maybe 2 weeks in to New Orleans. I'm like, this is so fresh right here. I don't know nobody. But I knew these dudes were with No Limit. But it came back to them later. That shit came back biting them later. These motherfuckers, I said, yo, I got a beat tape. I was like, check out my music while I'm pumping the gas. And I put the tape in, and a Zap sample came on. I never forget it. It was a More Bounce to the Ounce. It only played maybe for like 5-10 seconds. I don't know which one of the Cain or the Abel, which one it was, but the motherfucker took my tape out. He took that shit out and he threw my motherfucking tape. And he said, nobody don't want to hear that bullshit out here. He said, this is No Limit out here. And it's like a movie. And everybody, the bitches and everybody started laughing. I felt like this. I felt like motherfucking this. He threw my fucking tape out. He said, nobody want to hear that bullshit out here. They had a No Limit chains on his shit. He said, this is No Limit over here. And the bitches and everybody started laughing. Even the bitches was laughing. Even the bitches was laughing. And look, I pulled the gas pump out. And the motherfuckers left. They left. And they pulled out. I'm trying to tell you, this is like 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in. No way. Then right after that, maybe like a day after that, I saw, this is before Hustle and Flow. This is the 90s. This is the 90s, dog. We talking 97. July of 97. That's how I could timeline it. July of 97. Because the next week, I saw BG at the gas station while I was trying to get some blunts in a 40. I was trying to get a blunt in a 40. I saw BG at the gas station, at the gas pump, foaming out the mouth. You feel me? About the OD, foaming. Money falling all out his pocket and shit. This is all the shit that I'm seeing a couple weeks into New Orleans. I didn't even know who BG was. Oh, how he's disrespecting your demo. Yeah, he hustled and flowed. Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely. And the cold part, what made me mad is the bitches was laughing. That was the cold part. I didn't like that shit because I always been about the chicks and the broads and the hoes or whatever. So as a player, I felt disrespected. And I always been like, fuck Cain and Abel. I always been like, fuck Cain and Abel. And then guess what? When I got my shit right, that shit came back. Because rest in peace, Fifth Word Weeby. That's my motherfucking homeboy, okay? Fifth Word Weeby, them dudes wanted to work with me later on. Them fucking clowns, they wanted to work with me later on, and I would not work with Cain and Abel because of that motherfucking shit. That's a fact. And I never told them because they forgot. They forgot. But when I ran into them dudes later on, I wouldn't let them dudes record in my studio, or I would do music with them. And Weeby and everybody, they used to be like, damn, why the fuck you don't like Cain and Abel? I always been like, fuck them dudes. I always been like that. Fuck those dudes. No way. I never told nobody that story, but I've been telling y'all this story lately though. I always been like, fuck Cain and Abel. It actually goes all the way back to my entry point. Because I was so young. I was so young in the game, and these dudes, I knew, only reason why I knew who Cain and Abel was because I'm 'Bout It just came out, right? It came out on VHS. I'm 'Bout It just came out, and but besides the fact that they were in the movie, I found out about Cain and Abel because after the movie, Master P will have a bunch of little music videos after the movie. And he had the Cain and Abel video, the Gangstafied. And that's how I knew about Cain and Abel, from the movie, and they had Gangstafied at this point. So they pulled up on Reed Boulevard at the Exxon, and I felt some type of way. No, I mean, FBT, I told myself I got a whole movie waiting. I got a whole movie waiting. Like, for real. I'm not bullshitting. If I break it down the way I'm talking to you guys, I'm not watering it down or nothing. Like no way. Because what I do when I talk, I even let you guys know how I was feeling at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I felt some type of way. That's the cold part about it. A lot of people don't like to share stories and then double back and be like, hey, when that shit happened at that moment when that shit happened, I didn't like when that shit happened. I felt like this though. But guess what? I was getting money. I was getting money at that time, so I wasn't tripping. But I always told myself, when I get my shit together, I've always been like, fuck those dudes. I would never play they shit. I would never play they shit when I'll be chilling with the homies and shit, drinking 40s, and we'd be watching I'm 'Bout It. I always be like, fuck Cain and Abel. And everybody be laughing. They'd be like, here he go with that Cain and Abel shit. They never knew why. I always say it out the blue. I'll just be chilling, and then something will happen. Even my homeboy, Fifth Ward Weeby, had a hit. My homeboy, rest in peace. Weeby had a song called Shake It Like a Dog. He had a hit with Cain and Abel. He had a hit with them. You guys could Google it or whatever. Rest in peace, Weeby. That's the last song they had together during that era. During that era, they were trying to work with me. Most Wanted Records. Cain and Abel was trying to fuck with me at that point. That's during my era of music. And that whole little album, I could have been all on that album, on that Cain and Abel album doing production. But that's my home. Like, Weeby was trying to bring me all in on that shit. Nah, fuck Cain and Abel. Them dudes is some clowns. I'll take that L. I'll take that L. Because look, because Miss Cooley, look, at that point, 97, when I first got there, I didn't know nobody. And look, I knew that all these dudes was rolling around in this part of the city where I was at. So I always kept a beat tape on me. And look, I was that hungry. I was hungry back in those days. And let me tell you something. Let me give you some game. Because of that shit right there, I got my own studio after that. That was a lesson learned. When they laughed and the bitches laughed at me, I told myself that shit would never happen again. And from that moment on, I saved every motherfucking dime. It took me years to get to that point. I would never, and check this shit out. For many years when I was in New Orleans, I never asked to use nobody's shit. Matter of fact, a lot of people didn't even know I did music. I stopped telling people I did music. I would just be around the shit. I'll just be checking shit out. You know what I mean? And then one day I just got my shit together. And that's how that shit went down. Because of that Cain and Abel shit, I was like, nah. I was like, fuck that shit. I was like, this shit had never happened again. I'm gonna get my own equipment. That's facts. And then, hey, I used my motherfucking tax return after I got my gig. Man, I used my whole tax return, went right there to Guitar Center and bought and paid for my shit cash. Blew the whole fucking tax return, the whole thing. That's a fact. I didn't like that shit. I take that back. No. I take that back. There's a little window before there was these two guys in New Orleans East. They was cool as fuck. And they had an ASR 10. They had an ASR 10. And these guys were so cool. I used to actually hang out with them. They were so cool where to the point, this is the guy that showed me how to sequence. I talk about this in the book also. I forgot about this. When I came to New Orleans, I didn't know how to sequence music. I knew how to make music, but I didn't know how to sequence. I didn't know what this was. When I pulled up in New Orleans, I didn't know what this was. You hear that? I didn't know what that was. There was a guy named Dre in 97. I came out there with a beat tape, and they were just loops. They were just loops, because what I used to do with the ASR in California prior to this, nobody told me what the Metrodome was in the early days. I had equipment in California in 95, 96, 94. But I didn't know what that was. And what I used to do to make my little beat tapes, I would have a whole ASR and didn't know how to do. So what I would do, I would press record on the tape, and I would do that for years, because motherfuckers in LA, they were hating on me, because the dudes in LA, let me give you some more game now. Prior to me going to New Orleans and shit like that, I was trying to fuck with the music and shit. I had this ASR 10 keyboard. I had the real keyboard. But I didn't know what that was. I used to find samples for rappers back in the day on the West Coast. People used to pay me money to go digging for vinyls. These are facts. All the G-Funk, all types of people in Long Beach in the early days, they used to pay me to go find shit for them and shit. Until I caught on. Because everybody knew I was a vinyl head. And I was like, well, fuck that. I'm about to go get myself a keyboard. And then when I got a keyboard, the same people that were, that I used to get records for, they wouldn't show me how to use the equipment. So when I got to New Orleans, I had this beat tape. And this guy, he was like, what are you using? I'm using an ASR 10. So he said, show me how I'm using it. So I was doing this. And he was like, no, that's not how it goes. He said, you got to do this. I said, what is that? I said, what's that? He said, you don't know what bars is? This is my introduction to bars. He said, you don't know what bars and clicks is? We drinking 40s in New Orleans. 1997 on a ASR keyboard. He's like, you don't know what bars and clicks is? I said, I just know how to loop. That's it. He said, all right, this is how it goes. He said, you hear that? You hear that? Try to match it. He hit 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how he introduced it to me. Then it hit me immediately. Immediately. It is clicked. I was like, okay. That's all I needed to know. This guy took 3 minutes and literally just showed me the way. Showed me the way. It completely changed everything. He was like, that's how you make your music. That's how you sequence. You're the click. And he showed me what the fucking quantize was and all that other shit. So now I know how to do all this, but I go through a phase. I know how to do all this, but I don't got no equipment. So now I'm saving money. I know how to sequence. I know how to quantize, but I'm in New Orleans. So, hey, I'm going to tell you what I did. Check this shit out. Before I even got equipment. Before I even got equipment, do you know what I did? I went and got me a motherfucking pad. I went and got me a spot. I went and got my own fucking place. No way. The minute I told myself, I was like, okay, I'm about to really do this music shit. I went and got me a spot. When I moved to New Orleans and shit, I stayed with my mom and shit for maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. All this shit happened really fast. So I went and got me a fucking spot. I went and got me a spot. $250 a month. Only thing I had up in there was a couch and a fucking TV. That's facts. And that TV only showed like 4 fucking stations. And look, and I used to sit up in there with no fucking equipment at this point and didn't know nobody. At this point, I remember I used to sit up in there and just dream about it, think about it, drinking 40s and shit, just saving my money. Smoking blunts, drinking 40s like, yup. You about to get a drum machine. You about to get a sampler. And that's exactly what happened. We're going to get it cracking. And when I got that shit, I sat right up in that bitch. And I learned how to make beats in that fucking my first house in New Orleans on Orleans Avenue. I sat up in there and learned how to make beats. I taught myself how to fucking do that shit. That's facts. I would sit there all fucking night in this shotgun house, taking 40s to the dome, killing 40s, learning how to do this shit. And let me tell you something. When I really understood the science of sampling, I remember that night. That changed everything. When I understood that in the sample, it was over. It was over. Just one day, it is clicked. And I remember them early days, I used to just be hitting shit. And everything was just off. Everything was just off beat. But I noticed every day, the music started sounding cleaner and cleaner. Every day, I turned this motherfucking shit on. And it will sound a little better than the other day. Every day will get us a little better. That's how that shit happened. And I had another moment. I remember this. I remember when I started to get I remember when I first started sampling. And I took my music that I was making from from New Orleans, and I was coming back to the West Coast. And I remember I was coming out here, and I remember I got laughed at. I remember I played some music. I'm not gonna share that name until the book, but a couple interesting people in the game, they laughed at my music then, and I felt this. I felt very little, and I remember that day, and I told myself. I remember that day because I told myself, I was like, I ain't never coming back to LA until my shit is right. And that trip right there, cause I came out here and I played some music, and I was still I was okay, but I was like a diamond in the rough. But the way I got dissed, you know what I mean? I felt some type of way, so I went back to the drawing board. But I'll tell you one thing: when I got that shit right, no way, I had motherfuckers regretting. That's a motherfucking fact. I never forget that. I remember that flight going back home. I remember that's before this machine. That's right before the Yamaha. I told myself that shit. I was like, fuck these rink. When I got humiliated in LA in '99, I sold all my equipment and went and bought all the new shit. That's how that came into play. Here comes the Yamaha. I had the MPC at first. I didn't like it, and I sold it and got the Yamaha. I stepped my game up heavy. I was like, nope, you got to step your game up. You got to step your game up. And guess what? I was making my beats on now. I mean, back then, but they call it legendary. They call the machine legendary right now. But back then they called it rink-a-dink because they didn't understand lo-fi. The little SP, the SP202, the little groove box thing, that's what I was sampling on in the early days. And I was using a Roland MC303 for my drum kicks and all this other stuff. No way. But I tell you this much. When I got on this motherfucking Yamaha, it was a wrap. It was game over. Game over. Game over. The sound changed immediately. And what I realized, I learned the lesson. I had gotten to the point where my ideas outcrafted the machines I was using. I needed real equipment at that point. I needed the newest shit. That's facts. I didn't need no ASR. I didn't need no rolling shit. I needed the newest shit at this point. No way. I know what it's like to be humiliated in the skateboard world and on the music shit. But the music shit made me mad though. The skateboard shit, when I bullshit and skateboard, that shit hurt my feelings type shit. This music shit, nah, that shit sent me back to the drawing board. No way. Only thing that shit did is have me sharpening up my skills and motherfucking sending motherfuckers down a rabbit hole. Down regretting. And when I came back smashing. And especially, I remember the day when I told myself, look, you ain't gonna be no fucking rapper. Fuck this rap shit. You gonna make these motherfucking beats. That's a fact. Hey, I learned early in the game, everybody can't be a rapper. And I remember that time in the game when everybody was trying to be a rapper. I was one of the dudes. I was like, nope. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna learn this machine. I'm gonna learn it. And my people, when I'm making music on this machine, I don't know this machine right here. I don't know that I'm learning it in real time because I don't know the Akai language. I come from the Yamaha family. But the cool part about this and sharing this experience is that you guys get to see it in real time. That's the cool part about this experience. I don't know nothing about the MPC family. I told you guys I bought an MPC 20 years ago, and I sold it because the language was too hard for me at that time. It was very hard for me to understand. Yep. But when I got that Yamaha, and I had that manual, back in the day, they used to have an owner's manual that came with shit. I don't know how they do it now. They give you a scan code and you have to read shit on the internet. But they gave you a manual back in the day. And I remember before I even opened up that fucking Yamaha, I sat at home, at work, everything, and read this shit like a fucking book. Straight through. Straight through. Straight through. Straight through. And then I knew somebody that had, I shared this story before, I'm gonna share this again. I knew somebody that had this machine. My homeboy Beat Doctor, he's a producer. He was a producer. He did the beat with Magic and Young Bleed and Roy Ayers, not Roy Ayers, Roy Jones Jr. I Drink, I Smoke. He did the beat. He did that beat on the Yamaha. And he showed me, he's the one that actually showed me how to get that thing going. Like, even though I read the book, I'm the type of person, I can read stuff, but I operate better off of visuals. I just need somebody to show me like one time. And when he came over and showed me the Yamaha, I just cracked the 40 and smoked the blunt. I smoked the blunt and I just sat there and I told him to make a beat. And I just watched him. I just needed to know how everything works. I was like, just tell me one time where everything goes. How do you sample? How do you splice? I'm talking about with this machine right here. And then it only took one time because I already knew how to sample and sequence and make beats. But I didn't know how to get it going. I didn't know where everything was. Yep. And that's man. Who's up in here? I've been talking about music forever and sharing stories over there. Shout out to that Cain and Abel shit. I gotta piss too. I'll be right back. Everybody left? You guys all left. I'm tired of y'all Russians all up in this motherfucker too all the time. I ain't never seen a man. I think that shit is weird. That shit weird as fuck. I'm gonna tell you what I'm saying. Hold on. I want to know this shit. I want to know this shit. And first of all, Pooh, where is you from? I want to know, Pooh, where is you from? What are you, a female or something? And then my second thing, I want to know, hey, Miss Cooley, like I really think like my algorithm is fucked up. I've never seen a fucking stream that get all these motherfucking goddamn Russians. I've never seen a feed like mine get all these goddamn Russians up in this motherfucker. My out like my shit is like spam. It's like something isn't right. My algorithm is completely shot on here. No, I just sometimes I be wanting to just start a brand new page. I'd really be considering it too. I'd be considering just starting a brand new page. And the only reason I'm staying on a stream right now, y'all, because when I shut this down, that's it for the night. I'm going out to eat. I'm going out to eat and have my evening, and I'll be back on tomorrow. So I got to be at the place at seven something. So it's whatever at this point. It's whatever. But no, I'm tired of all these goddamn Russians in my goddamn feed. I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't see that shit going on in other people's feed. That's a fact. I don't see that shit. And it's not by coincidence. It's like all the time. All the time. It's not timing. Ain't no motherfucking timing. It's a public feed. Where are you from? Where are you? It's the West Coast. I'm out here in LA, brother. Shout out to you. Pooh, where are you from and how old are you? Where are you from and how old are you and what are you? That's my 3 questions. That's my love letter to you, Pooh. How old are you? Where are you from? And what are you? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm about to smoke. If I got any more blunts, I'm about to smoke another blunt. Since I ain't going nowhere, I'm just smoking my ass off today. Fuck it. Shout out to CJ. Out there in Florida. Real one. And why I feel like you ignoring me, Pooh? Why I feel like you ignoring me? A simple question. Because you don't got no avatar up to even to show your identity. So I just want to know who I'm talking to. And I think anybody that knows me, I do that to anybody. I do that to anybody. And I've been told I look like Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson got hoes. You're a bot? Alright, well, if you can't answer, let me tell you something. If you can't answer a simple question, I'm just going to get rid of you then. I'm just going to run that play. Because I asked you three times 3 simple questions. So I'm not going to repeat it one more time. I just want to know what you are, how old are you, and where are you from? That is a simple question. Anything else is weird. Anything else at this point is weird. Anything. And I don't think I'm saying anything crazy. This is the shit I be talking about. Lily, you see this shit? Lily, you up in here, you see this shit? Miss Cool, you see this shit, FBT? Larry, you see this? I'm just asking a simple, am I talking crazy? Am I out of pocket? Am I being disrespectful? Let me know if I'm being disrespectful. Am I talking, am my energy off? Yeah, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Simple questions. There's something wrong with that. Lily, you can go ahead and get rid of that. Just go ahead and get rid of that. That's... Nuh-uh. Go ahead and get rid of that. That was a simple question. Where are you from? How old are you? Where are you, what country are you in? That was just a simple question, and I've been noticing it. I've been noticing this shit. Just like coming in here talking about a dog and all this other shit, and your dog this, and I'm talking about some. When I saw the red tape when I was talking about this, and her that bot conversation or whatever is talking about something else. That's when I was like, something ain't right. Not having it. That's what I'm saying. And what I realized, I don't see a lot of this activity on other platforms. I got to dig into this. That's why I'm really trying to get my algorithm right. I don't know if it was you know, I really believe that my algorithm is tainted a little bit in inside the video game world because of that PS4, when that Playroom, that PlayStation. I think that shit fucked up my algorithm just a little bit. I don't know why, but I do tag now. Because I don't see other people that do, if they're doing music, then they have that audience in there. And for some reason I get a gang of Russians. Motherfuckers from India. Stealing data and shit. You heard me? Mm-mm. You say YouTube strange like that. Not today, but I have been tagging. Not today. Yeah, I'm just running the clock now because I'm not getting back on later on. I'm not getting back on, but I will be back tomorrow. So, and that's why I haven't eaten yet. I'm kind of hungry. I'm waiting though. I'm gonna tear them ribs up. Give me some beef ribs. Jack, where you from? Where you from, Jack? And here's the cold part. Shout out to Chicago. Here's the cold part. My subscribers are going up. My subs are going up. And then when I check the list, this is the cold part. I'm not losing my swag. I'm not losing my motion. I'm seeing the honeys. The honeys are subscribing to the old man. I'm seeing skateboarders subscribing. I'm seeing actual people subscribing. I'm seeing this shit. Every time I stream, I gain like 5 to with my live feed. I get about 5 to 10 subscribers. That's pretty good. Besides what I'm gaining from my shorts. Motherfuckers not tapping in. They just not tapping in. But they are subscribing. And they're not bots. Because now YouTube got it set up where you can see the whole friends list. At first the friends list was tricky. But now you can see everything. And I'm like, well damn. Yo, you are interacting. These are real people. That's facts. These are just people you never seen before. I never seen this chick before. Why, she's never been in my feed, but she's fucking subscribed. Where this dude from? I never seen him before. It's just when I do these lives, for some, I don't know why. It's just rushing out. And see, the thing is, the Russian, them foreigners, them foreigners are the biggest trolls. That's why I try to, that's a fact. Your biggest trolls are them foreigners. This is something I know. And statistics. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what statistics show. No way. A lot of trolls are overseas. You heard me? Man. Yeah. Got 100K. But here's the thing, this is the thing. But my subscribers are going up. I'm at 13.5. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And look, that's why I didn't start a new YouTube page, because I had to think about it. I was going around looking at everybody else's pages and shit like that. And I thought that I was like, well, shit, I could just make a new page. And I was like, well, hold on for a second. Hold on. That 13.5 you got, that's actually kind of hard to get. That's not easy to get. That's not easy to get. No way. Kim Sung. I must admit, I'm a long-time lurker, but Kim, how I know you're real? Your page looks fake because look at your avatar. I'm talking about, I mean, shout out to you. I mean, and you probably are real. But I'm talking about people, like real people that come in with their somewhat real names or real avatar, real photos, real interactions. You know, that and I'm not hating on you. You might be a real person, but I don't know. Your name is Kim Sung. That gives me troll vibes. Fake account to protect my real ID. This is 2 months. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can dig that, Lily. What he's saying makes sense. Here's the thing about it. If you tell me something that makes sense, I can understand that. I had my real ID stolen many times, but fuck, man, but that makes sense. But at the same time, I just feel troll vibes. I don't know why. I don't miss though. But you say you good, we gonna roll though. But hey, you guys remember this day though. I don't know. You seem cool though for right now. But I don't know. But look though, I thought FBT was a troll. I thought hello. I thought FBT was somebody from the PlayStation community because her first name said Miss. That's a fact. Just because of the Miss. And look. Still red tape with that, but I'm like, okay for now. Miss. The last time I knew somebody named Miss Cooley, I had, look, she was a motherfucking clown. You heard me? Hey. She was a motherfucking clown. That's why I didn't look. That's one of the main reasons why I came swinging on you so hard, just off the name. When you had that Miss, to my Miss. You don't know anyone named Miss Cooley, no, but I know someone named Miss something with her trolling ass. Miss something. And I was like, that's that motherfucker with this Miss. But no, you not. You in the clear with that. You in the clear. It's somebody I got rid of, but you look, it's somebody I got rid of that used to be part of my little community. And you know, she's a fallen soldier, and I know she still fuck with the old man, cause you know what I'm saying, cause I'm a good dude and shit like that. She's one of them motherfuckers that went against the grain. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker went against the grain and shit, and want to double back. And that's just one of those situations. I just don't fuck with that motherfucker no more. Straight up. This hands down. Real cow. I never knew a woman could be a coward. That's facts. That woman is a coward. And I stand on business with that. And that's some harsh words to call a woman, but I really mean that. Especially if somebody that playing with my motherfucking name and don't know me for jack no shit. Nah, you a clown. And that's why I've been going by Ms. for over 20 years. It's cool. There's no problem with that. I mean, hey. But I'm just saying, Miss Cool, FBT. Look, that's why I call you FBT, because I don't even like saying the name Miss. I don't even like saying the... Look, I just call you FBT. I don't even like saying the name Miss. I'm like, fuck that motherfucker. You heard me? Hey. I've been lurking since the steel fold up chair, turntable, and PlayStation streaming. See, but then that's suspect to me. That's suspect. That's suspect. That's facts. That I don't like that. You've been no, I don't like that. That's suspect. That's suspect. There's a full red flag. A full red flag. But you all right, FBT? You all right for right now? You all right? Yeah, that's creepy. You've been look. You know why that's suspect? I ain't played a motherfucking record on this goddamn feed since 2020. I've been stopped playing records. I've been playing records since 2015. So you've been watching all that time, 2015, 2014. My first live stream ever, on that raggedy ass PlayStation was in 2014. I got the receipts. I got the photos and everything. The first time I ever turned that fucking camera on. No way. I ain't played no fucking records. Matter of fact, I ain't turned my PlayStation on since probably... Matter of fact, I did a New Year's Eve stream in 2020. In 2020, I did one. Going into 21, that was really, really cool on the PlayStation. That was probably one of my last streams right there. That was one of my last streams. Just keeping it 100. That was one of I was starting to stop streaming on that play. I'm talking about one of my last streams on the PlayStation. Right after that New Year's stream, I migrated to this fucking YouTube with the camera. I ain't turned my PlayStation on in over 4 years. That motherfucker raggedy. Only reason why I want to turn it on so I can play GTA and see how my character doing. That's the only reason why. If I showed you guys how my PlayStation look right now, y'all will probably be disgusted. That shit is literally in 2 fucking pieces. Right fucking there. I'm looking at it. It's in 2 pieces. I'll never forget that shit. The day I told myself, I said, I ain't never streaming on this fucking PlayStation no more. No way. And I turned that motherfucker off. I threw that PlayStation. I threw it. I said, fuck this PlayStation. I'm over it. And that's a true story. So I ain't never streaming on this bullshit ass shit again. When that shit is just trash. Fuck that shit. Is this messy? Is this messy? It's a shitty platform, and that's just what it is. And you don't, and your page doesn't grow with that audience. YouTube doesn't allow your page to grow if you stream on a PlayStation. You shadow ban yourself when you're on a PlayStation. That's a fact. That's a fact. You are not part of the algorithm at all when you stream on that PlayStation. Let me tell you something. That's another reason why I stopped. Because I knew that then. I will only have like 1,000 subscribers, and only the same people will watch my streams. I wasn't getting no new subscribers for many years because I was shadow banned. I wasn't in the recommend feed at all. Period. They wasn't getting no recommendations that you're live and stuff. No. Only people that knew that you was streaming was them same motherfuckers sitting at home on their PlayStations. That's facts. YouTube set that shit up, and now I get it. Only people from PlayStation realize that you're fucking streaming. I don't even know if you can even stream on that thing right now. They had a thing on there called the PlayStation Live. And that would be crazy to be streaming on it right now with the way, I mean, come on, I'm streaming in 4K right now. That shit is in 1080p. That shit was 1080p. Don't get me wrong, it did what it did at first. That shit used to be cracking. But I don't like negative platforms. I used to tell everybody this thing called the Playroom. This Playroom. In the early days, what gravitated me to the Playroom, that shit was better than cable. Better than cable TV in the early days. I used to be able to go home and turn on my PlayStation, and you could go on these tiles. They had these tiles, everybody, and you go on these tiles, and you would get pages and pages and pages of people doing shit at their house. Like, this is before we had access to live stream on our phones and everything. The PlayStation is the actual granddaddy of live streaming. This is the granddaddy. This is when this is during an era when people, they really weren't outside too much. People were still kind of chilling at home. People were still hanging out with each other. That type of era. Because you would go home and you would get pages and pages of motherfuckers doing shit at home. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about they would have their own shows. People would be throwing parties. Um, 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 it was this. It was pretty much cable TV in real time. It was cable TV in real time, and it was cool at first. It was really cool, but as um, the years and the technology, you know what I'm saying? When it got to the point where the PlayStation really wasn't needed anymore, when it got to the point you could go live on Instagram, you could go live on Facebook, when you could go live on YouTube, when you could go live on YouTube direct, when that capability happened, that's when the PlayStation like it lost a lot of motion, and then what was left was a certain crowd that became real tainted. It became real ugly. I called that crowd the scraps. You know what I mean? That's like it was just the leftovers of everything. Because in the beginning, that fucking PlayStation, them tiles, there was possibilities with it. There was people that was getting discovered and blowing up and doing all types of shit because of they little shows and shit they had going on the PlayStation. These are facts. You was able to live stream out of your living room with a camera back in the day, and it was really good quality. And then you was also able to put titles up and all types of shit. You know what I mean? And some people took it full advantage of it. You had people doing comedy shows, doing all types of shit. And then just when live streaming became available for other devices, this shit just became tainted and all drama and bullshit. That's what it was, period. And anybody that was decent, you know, like decent folk, they all left that platform. And that's facts. They're you know, me personally, no grown adult at this point of the game, or even 5 years ago, that's why I stopped streaming on that shit. I don't feel like any adult should be streaming on a fucking PlayStation. This stream direct. That's a video game. That's for the kids. You know what I'm saying? It was cool at first and stuff when it was a part of technology and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? But at this point, if you're only streaming on this thing and your audience is nothing but weirdos and kids and shit and people playing Fortnite and shit like that, and no way. No old guy like me don't have no business being on that platform. And that's facts. And that's what I'm talking about with this PlayStation shit. It was as good once upon a time, yada, yada, yada. That shit is called growing pains. But as far as like your page growing, that shit affects your page's growth. That shit affects your page's growth right now. Anybody, if you and if you're and know why I don't turn on my PlayStation, I don't turn it on, and I don't even want my PlayStation connected to anything YouTube because I don't want it to fuck up the algorithm. It took a long time to get that algorithm out. That's facts. I can't make this up. Yeah, you could, you know, you just because you're streaming on a PS4 and then you might live stream over here on your device sometimes, that don't mean shit. The algorithm is tainted. It's tainted. It's only going to send you to that gaming community. That's why if you go to your YouTube settings, that's why it's automatically going to send you there. If you stream on a PS4 and you go to your YouTube settings, it's going to say gaming up in there. And you don't even have to do nothing. It automatically sends you there. Just like how you could pick the areas you want to be. Like before you stream, you could pick entertainment. You could pick like with me, sporting. I could pick DJing and all this other shit, right? But when I'm streaming on a PlayStation and shit, I don't even get those capabilities. I can't select. I want a hashtag the music section. I want to hashtag the entertainment or the skateboards and stuff so my feed will go over there. You don't even get that luxury. No, you turn that shit on and it's going to send you right to the motherfucking tiles. And the only way anybody's going to know that you're streaming, if that, they have to actually type your name up. And maybe you'll show up. Maybe. 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 Because it was so bad with me when I was on that PlayStation. For people to know if I was you guys hear me? Because my mom was calling. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. No. And I it took me a long time to even get my to this platform to even be in the recommend feed. It took a long time. Ask Lily. When I started when I started showing up in the recommend feed again, I didn't believe it. I really didn't believe it. I really didn't believe it at all because this page was fucked up for so long. That's facts. And that's an algorithm situation. If you're always streaming on a PlayStation, a PS4, it's gonna take you a long time for that to get out your algorithm. You're gonna have to do like factory resets and all types of other shit. That's facts. That's facts. I'm just being 100. And that's why I'll never turn on my PlayStation again and link it up to my YouTube. No way. You will never be in the recommend feed on a PS4. Ever. 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 No. YouTube just provides a service. You're just a third party. When you go live on a PS4, YouTube is this third party. You go live to YouTube and YouTube sends that traffic right to the PS4. That's facts. That's exactly how that goes. Versus when you turn on the live camera or whatever, and you're supposed to go to the recommend feed, the recommendation feed. No, they send that traffic to fucking to the PlayStation servers, and that's how PlayStation they have the tiles and all that shit. Somebody tell me make it make sense. You think they gonna go through all that? That's too much work. Send that shit to fucking PlayStation and then send that shit to the recommend feed on YouTube. That's too much traffic. That's too much. Too much. She said that's how. No way. It was cool at first. That shit over there was cool at first. I speak low on that community and that platform. It's a respect issue. It's all. I know you discovery not on PlayStation, but my taste for and when I talk about the playroom and in the community, it's all about. It's a respect thing. It's a respect thing. That's all. It's all about respect and integrity. Absolutely. And it's really a situation You know, um um there was things that were happening. There was things that was happening in my life when I was streaming on that platform. I was at a really dark place and shit, and there was a lot of people getting at me. I'm just keeping it 100. A lot of people from that community, they really underestimated me, and they really thought I was a fuck boy and shit like that. They had no idea I was doing the shadow work and trying to get my shit right. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it 1,000. A lot of people, man, they was really getting at me and stuff like that. And it's a real sad situation because a lot of people from that community, they showed me their true selves, their colors, and I never ever said anything. No, I ain't no counting me out. They motherfuckers was discrediting me. They was playing with my name, my motherfucking character. They were doing all types of shit. All types of shit. That's facts and shit. And not one time I never retaliated. I never said nothing. Never talked about motherfuckers. And they took it as a sign of weakness. They had no idea I was doing the shadow work. They had no idea at that time. I was instructed, even through all this bullshit. They had no idea what type of motherfucker I am. I was just at that time, I was working on myself. It was just a situation, okay, I hear all this bullshit y'all running. I hear all that. Let me get my shit together real quick. I'll be back though. I'll be back. And that's a fact. That's a fact. That's why I said don't ever play with motherfuckers, especially a motherfucker you don't know. That shit ain't cool, especially if you're solid people. And that's why I speak on that shit so low. There's a lot of trolling. The community is so small. That's why I said it's never in a recommendation. It's more of a situation where it was so tainted where everybody started trolling everybody and shit like that. And people would they would try to hang out with you just to talk about you. I met people from that community and shit like that. I invited them over to my home, all types of shit. And they go right back to that motherfucking camera and talk about me like a motherfucking dog. You heard me? And I would sit right here like a G and don't say a motherfucking thing. Because guess what? I'm working on myself at this time. It's not, do you hear what I'm saying? I'm just taking that L. Just taking that L. Just taking that L. That's facts. It's a cold game though. That's why I said never judge a book by its cover and shit. And it's really sad. A lot of people underestimated me. They just underestimated the old man. No doubt. Because where I'm at right now, I wasn't here yet. I wasn't here. No way. No way. See, and the cold part about it, know what makes it stick? I ain't never said nothing to this day. I ain't never said nothing. I was just like, all right. And just moved on with my little life. Just kept it pushing. Because I understood, look, you can't fold right now. You doing shadow work right now. You can't be worrying about this bullshit. Those are distractions to fuck up the work you trying to do within yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? These were all plays that the devil and the negative forces was throwing at me at this time. All types of weird shit, but guess what? You can't fold. You got to stay 10 toes down to yourself because you are working on yourself. You can't entertain this bullshit. No way. These are facts. And I always tell you guys, Right when you trying to, whenever you trying to do something right, that's when everything wrong comes at you. That's when everything wrong comes at you. When you really trying to work on yourself. That's the hardest part. Is going through that phase, working on yourself and stuff like that, and trying to put yourself in, and this trying to just, man, be the best individual you are, mind, body, and soul. To get there, that's the mission. That's the mission. I'm trying to get myself into isolation and all this shit, but I got all this negative shit coming at me, trying to pull me in. But but once I got to that point, like, look, full blown isolation. It was a wrap. Once I was able to fully isolate, it was a wrap. Game over. But I understood then. That's why I would never, like, when motherfuckers was getting at me and saying weird shit. That's why I never got on the camera and shit like that and said nothing crazy back. Cause I have too much integrity. But at the same time, I know I I knew always I knew what type of time I was on. You know what I mean? This is just a distraction to the goal, to the light. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We trying to get out of depression. We trying to get out of anxiety. You feel me? We trying to get out of all these bad feelings and shit. But you got all this shit trying to pull you in. You got all this shit. You got people getting on camera talking about you a stalker. You got people doing all this other shit. You got people talking you live in a rat hole. You got people doing all this crazy shit. You know what I mean? And you trying to, and at the same time, you trying to bring yourself out of depression. You trying to bring yourself out of alcoholism. You feel me? You trying to bring yourself out of hoism. Fucking with bummy ass bitches. You trying to do all this fucking shit, and at the same time, all this shit is just coming at you. And and while all this shit is happening, you just sitting there taking them L's properly. Because you know why I'm taking them L's? FBT, ask me why. Ask me why I'm taking all them L's. Please type up why. Because I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I always saw that light at the end of the tunnel. Even when it was dark. Even when that shit was dark than a motherfucker, I saw that motherfucking light. I saw it. And guess what? Every day, through the bullshit, that light would get a little brighter. You heard me? That shit will open up a little bit more. That shit would just be opening. Y'all hear me? Even while all this shit going on, I just kept looking at that light. I just kept looking at that fucking light. I'm like Caroline and Poltergeist. Follow the light. Follow the light. Follow the light. There's light at the end of the tunnel. No way. What do I mean? What I mean is that, well, you know what's at the end of the tunnel? No more depression. No more anxiety. No more clowns. Clear thinking. Rest. Abundance. Taking ownership. Self-worth. That's what's at the light. That's what's at the fucking light. Fuck you talking about? All that shit. You got to get there. I wanted the light again. Fuck that dark shit. No way. I tell anybody that deals with depression, straight up, you don't need meds. You don't need meds. You don't need to go to a shrink. If you're dealing with mental illness, real talk, you did like I'm just a tough cookie. I didn't, I wanted to be out of that funk. But you can't be drinking alcohol and all that other shit and you're battling these type of issues. I want only way you can get yourself out of these situations. I did two things, a bunch of things simultaneously. I dealt with all my depressions and all that bullshit and I put down the alcohol at the same time. That's the only way that worked. You got to do everything together. You can't be trying to come out this funk and you're drinking and shit like that. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. And you gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do it. And I didn't want to be on that bullshit no more. No way. And guess what? And I said it before, I said it again. It took me over 10 years to even get it right. It took me over 10 years. I didn't want to, man, I've been working on myself since I was 40 years old, 41 years old. I've been working on myself. Just so to even be at this state. I'm not perfect, but I thank God I'm here. To even be at this state, it took me fucking all this time to even get here. Because I had so many distractions. So many distractions during the way. All the bobbing and weaving. That's a fact. All the bobbing and weaving, man. Shout out to Trinidad. And you gotta want to do it. And that was just where I was at. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna be 100. I had to come out the funk when by the time I was 39, 40, I started realizing. Well, I already had put the music down. I put the music down in my late 30s, and I realized what it was. I was starting. My depression is really starting to kick in at that point. That's all a depression move. Now I can reflect. Me stopping music and walking away for all these years, that's all depression influenced. No way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when I walked away from the music, I also realized, like, hey, you got to start getting this shit right. You got to start getting this shit right. You don't start now trying to get it right. I told myself this at 41. I was like, you're going to be fucked up by the time you're in your 50s. It should have happened way faster. But through that journey trying to get there, distractions. You know what I mean? But once I figured out the cheat code, once I figured out the power of isolation, once I figured out the power of silence, once I figured that shit out, it was game over. It was game over. And sometimes you need to isolate yourself to get out that funk. Because when you isolate yourself, you see everything for what it is. You see it in real time. You see it. You start taking ownership. Stop blaming motherfuckers. You really strip the fat down. You know what I mean? You get it right. No way. This is all a process. I don't have no super chats. Thank you, though, man. This is all just a process. I used to smoke Black and Milds. drink heavy, running the streets, chasing women all the fucking time. That's facts. Not eating right, thinking I was never gonna get old. That's facts. Not making skateboards but not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I was making boards but wasn't really doing it because you know why? I'm too busy drinking. I'm too busy being. Let me explain something to you. I was too busy at one point in my life. I got caught up in the hype, and I was too busy being the image Anthony Oglesby. Do you understand? The pro skateboarder Anthony Oglesby at that time. Not the actual skateboarder. What do you guys think I was putting my time in? It was all image based in some of these years. Okay, I had the skateboards and all this other shit, but guess what? I'm at the bars, I'm at the clubs and shit. Okay, I got the story, I got the mixtape. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. See, there's a difference. And all that contributes to depression, drinking, anxiety, focusing on what I did back in the day, focusing on my alcoleagues that I did back in the day, than making new alcoleagues now. Am I making sense, everybody? And that's what happens when you are depressed, anxiety, you caught up in your bullshit. You will stay stagnant, and you will always reminisce. You will stay reminisce on your glory moments, on what you did back in the day, or when you did this, or when you did that. I wanted to be that guy. Well, I'm still doing shit now, and I'm gonna talk about what the fuck I did back in the day. And these are facts. These are facts right here. I've been that. I know what it's like. But it took years. And it is like now, I'm so protective over myself. I don't play. I don't play. I done got it so right. Nah. Ain't no fuck shit coming around me right now. I don't want no clowns around me. No stagnant shit. I only want people around me that's vibing high, just like me. That's facts. I want to be around people that I can learn from and feed from, and that's facts. You know. And I appreciate God to allow me to come out of that shit, because a lot of people don't come out of depression, and I realize that. And that's why I don't have no problem telling people, hey, this is what it was. Because I know this is some rare shit right now. This I was able to run that cheat code and come out of that shit and come out of that funk, rebuild my legacy in the game. There's a lot of shit that I was able to do, and it wasn't supposed to be done. No way. I'm very fortunate. But this goes back to everything I said. At the end of the day, you got it. It's very hard to self-motivate. You gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do it. And the hardest part is easy for someone to motivate you and be like, you could do it and all this other stuff. But to motivate yourself is the real cheat code. And if you could perfect that, you could be a badass motherfucker. And that's real. And that's where I'm at right now. Because I perfected it. It is. I'm finishing this roach, Lily, and I'm out of here. You are so right. Thank you. I want to change. I want to change up real quick. Put some sleeves on and stuff. You are absolutely right. Thank you. And I just be rambling, you guys. You know what I mean? I hope I make sense. But at the end of the day, I'm been through some shit. Lots of ups and downs. Almost died a couple of times. Almost been in jail a couple of times. Life. Life. It's facts. I've been shot at a few times. First time I'm revealing that. I'm surprised I just said that. I've been, and let me explain to you something. All the situations that I ever had involving shootings and stuff, it's always been me, the wrong place at the wrong time. It's never been I was on some bullshit. Every situation that I've had, it's always the wrong time, wrong place at the wrong time, somewhere that I shouldn't have been in the first place. Every single time that happened. That's facts. And I know my life and my story is crazy because man, you'll hear about it. I got a story to tell. Shout out to Tony P. No way. I'm just starting to reveal little crumbs, man. I know what it's like. I know what it's like seriously, like to be minding your. I'm gonna give you a good I'll just give you an example. Like one day, 1993, I was minding my own business, minding my own business. Just giving you a a little story. You know what I mean? This is this one time. This man, what 93? I was minding my business. I was at this phone booth making a phone call on 10th Street in Atlantic in Long Beach. Minding my business. Minding my business. Making a phone call. This motherfucking, I'm gonna keep it 100, is what it is. This motherfucking Mexican, he walked up on me and he said, hey Holmes. He said, say Holmes, where you from? I said, I don't gangbang. And this is during the time when shit was popping. Well, between the black and brown, everybody know there was shit going on. But I was at the phone booth. Motherfucking, he said, where you from? I said, I ain't from nowhere. So I'm just making a phone call. He threw up his set or some shit like that. Next thing I know, motherfucking Mexicans hopping out of bushes and everywhere, hopping out of trees, all types of shit. I'm not even lying. I broke out on the motherfucking phone. Broke out the phone and shit. Running down motherfucking Atlantic. There's a 7-Eleven right there on the corner of Atlantic. I could Google map this if you want to get right there on Atlantic and motherfucking 10th Street. There's a 7-Eleven right there. And I ran past the 7-Eleven and I jumped the fence. And when I jumped the fence, I was so scary. This is how I know God was on my side. I jumped the motherfucking fence, and when I jumped the fence, it was a dead end. It was a dead fucking end. And I started freaking out. But I was so tiny at this point. So tiny. I was so tiny of a person. I wasn't this. I was a little man. I was 18, but I was tiny. I was tiny growing up. And I jumped this fence, and it was a dead end. And all these Mexicans coming. They coming. And I jumped this fence, and there was nowhere to go. There was a little box. There was a box. I'm not even lying to you. Like God must have threw the shield over me. There was this a box, maybe like 2-3 feet wide, maybe. I threw that box over me. I just balled up. I balled up like this. I threw that fucking box on top of me, and I was just in there in tears. You guys, this is crying my fucking heart out. This is in a corner with this little box on me, and all these fucking Mexicans jumped the motherfucking fence, and they're standing right over me. This is how scary this shit is. This is how scary it is. They are right next to me. Gut. Oh my God. I'm trying to tell you. This is just the first time. This is just the first time. They're right there, and I hear them. They're like, "Where that little Mayate at? We gonna get him." I'm hearing guns cocking up, all that shit, and I'm just there like a ghost. They're right there next to me, like not even a foot away. I'm just in this little corner with a little box over me, and they didn't see me. So they jumped back over the little fence, and I thought they left. My dumb ass, I waited for a couple minutes, and I thought they left. When I jumped back over the fence, the motherfuckers was right there. I broke out again. I ran into the 7-Eleven, and ran into the back and ran into the storage room and locked the door. And I told the Arab man to motherfucking call the police. This is a true story. I can't make this shit up. I can't. That shit was scary. That's just the first time. The other time, there's another time it was actually gunplay. But this shit was crazy though. This shit was crazy, and I knew God looked out for me. I knew He did. As I reflect on my life, like I said, no way. Been very gracious and shown me love. Cause I could have easily been done way back in '93. I could have been done. You guys don't get it. I'm not talking about when I I'm not talking about. This was a little fence. It was a fence, but when you jumped the fence, it was a little alley. But that's where they kept dumpsters at, and it was a wall. That's it. It wasn't nowhere to go. It was just a wall. Wall and shit. But see, this goes back. But see, as I reflect though, this goes back to my negligence. I'm from Long Beach, California. I know what it is, especially in the 90s. I know for a fact I didn't have no business being on fucking 10th Street at that time of night on the phone booth. Not back in those days. No way. No way. That was a cocktail waiting to happen. That was just a cocktail waiting to happen. I knew better. But I thank God I got out that shit. I'm only going to share that story for right now. I'm only going to share that story. That's facts. And that shit was fucked up because shit was going down and shit was going down in 93 and 94. There was cuz I don't gangbang. I don't gangbang at all. I never have. But in 93, 94, they had this thing. I don't know if you from this part Trinidad at that time, but there was a little issue between the black and the brown with the I'll keep it 100. There was an issue between the 20s, the Insanes, and the Longos. They see the Mexicans. They got gang sets out here. The Longos, the East Side Longos and the West Side Longos. They run shit out here. Back in the, I don't know what's going on back now, but back in the day, they had it cracking, and how they was playing it back in those days, like yeah. See, he said I was it. See, so you already know. But see, that North Long, see, now I'm gonna stay away from that whole conversation. I'm gonna stay away from that whole conversation. And though that it, I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna stay from that. It was a lot of shit going down. I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm just gonna drop that. But pretty much, pretty much, pretty much, I was involved in some shit because of that. Because of shit going on in of a situation. I was involved, I got caught up in some shit. Absolutely. Absolutely. They can't, man. Yeah, man. I talk about it in the book though. I'm in full detail. I'm in full detail in the book. Full detail. Full. It's funny in the book actually. It's wild and it's funny. I'm just talking about it right now, but in the book I'm like way more in detail because there's way more words that were said. Absolutely. I talk about the first Mexican I see, then the second one, and then when I saw the other one hop, they was like, no way. They were popping out of everywhere like Indians. And Trinidad, if you from the Longo brand, that's how y'all was moving back in the day. Y'all motherfuckers rolled deep back in the day. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. And it was really going down to the point where regular civilians and shit were getting caught up. They were getting caught up on both sides. Just regular people. It was getting out of hand. Yep. Yep. I got a Compton situation too, Trinidad. I ain't gonna talk about that one though. I'm still not comfortable talking about that one. I'm still not talking. Yeah. That Compton situation that happened years ago, many years ago, that shit actually gave me anxiety. That shit could. That's a fact. I'm. That's the first time I'm sharing that to the world. A lot of people don't even know about that situation, but some shit happened. Just leave it at that. That shit actually did give me anxiety. It actually fucked me up a little bit. No way. And I'm not talking about that Compton situation. That didn't happen in like that ain't no 90 shit. That's 2000s. This is what I'm trying to tell you, man. You could easily be at the wrong place at the wrong time. You could easily just be doing something, minding your own business, and get caught up in some shit. And for some reason, I had that type of energy for a minute. For some reason, I was just getting caught up in bullshit. That's facts. I ain't sharing details. The book, I talk about it, absolutely, because shit really went down. And I thank God that I'm here today. That's a fact. That was a situation where anything different in that situation, I wouldn't be here right now. Anything in that Compton situation, God was right on time with me. Like any different, anything different, like I no way. I'll be done. I'll be done. I'm, you know, I'm just not comfortable sharing that story yet. But I do talk about it in the book because that shit really already, you know, I already was dealing with a lot of shit. But when that shit really happened, I, as I reflect, I noticed that like that kind of sent my direction. I really started, you know, this things, man. It's crazy. Y'all don't know, man. I ain't had a journey. I ain't had a journey. That's facts. I had a crazy journey. And and like I always tell you guys, a lot of shit. You could be the best person in the world. You could be the coolest person in the world. Without self-worth, you could do self-damage. That's facts. Self-damage. Because if you have self-worth, you're gonna keep yourself out of situations and you're gonna move differently. Period. You're gonna think before you do it. Instead of just doing it and not thinking. No way. That anxiety's a motherfucker. That anxiety's a motherfucker, you guys. Like seriously. I don't like that shit. Your heart all racing and shit like that. I don't like that shit. That shit is some bullshit. And I thank God, like I know I overcame that shit because it used to be so bad with me. I used to just be chilling, and the minute I think about that situation or whatever, like my heart just start racing. Like that shit is like, man, I start having panic attacks and shit. That's facts. But that's wrong. Yeah. But I know for a fact all that could have been that last situation, it could have been prevented. And I'll share this before I go cuz I got to go. Um I will share this. Another reason why I'll share it. Nobody even knows this shit, but I'll keep it a buck. A lot of reason why it turned out the way it did. A lot of reason why, and you guys are gonna say that that uh that I'm lying or whatever, but this is a fact. This is a fact. I'm not gonna. I mean, and I got people. You know, I'm not gonna get all into that. But the situation that happened. Only reason why I'm here right now is because the situation that happened, I dreamed it before it happened. You ready for the crazy part though? Y'all ready for the crazy part? Y'all gonna say I'm lying, but here's the crazy part. Before this event even happened, I told somebody about what happened, about the dream I had in full detail. I told somebody about it. This is facts. And the same event that I dreamed about went down. All the bullshit where people say when shit goes down, everything gets slow. That's true. That shit is true. When shit is like when shit goes down, shit gets slow like the Matrix. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm trying to I'm not gonna get. Wait, my book gonna be fire. Yeah, yeah. But that last reason why I'm here now is because I dreamed it. I dreamed it, and I shared the dream with somebody in particular before it happened. in full detail before it happened, because it bugged me that I had that type of dream. Yep. And I'm just throwing you guys crumbs. I'm throwing you guys crumbs. Everything that led to that moment is crazy. How I was at the club, and shit, and my conscience, and when I talk about that, how my conscience and my intuition was telling me to not leave the club. Well, that like when I break all that shit down, we talking real movie shit. How I was standing in line the whole time. It was raining and shit, and I stood in line for like an hour, 45 minutes. And then here, I'm going to stop right here. This is where everything, I was in line. And I got all the way to the door, getting ready to go in the club. Got patted down and everything. Right when I get to the door, these two dudes that I know, they right at the exit. This is, pay attention. This is very important. Right when they get to the exit, they say, "What's up, man?" Say, "What's cracking?" I'm coming in the club. Where it's like, we about to leave. Come with us. We about to go to the after hours. This shit is very important. It's like everything, life just froze right there. I remember my whole, God was telling me to go inside that club. It was like something was pulling me like, yo, take your ass up in this motherfucking spot. I could feel my shirt getting pulled on. That's how crazy this is. I could feel my shirt getting pulled on. But guess what I did? After I made the decision to follow these dudes. And I'm gonna stop it right there. That's where I fucked up. And the only thing I had to do is just go in that door. That was a fork in the window of my life. Only thing I had to do is just go in that fucking door. And Trinidad and everybody, the crazy part is that I felt it. I felt God pulling me, like, or whatever that was. I felt it that night. Even when I left. Here's the cold part. Before everything happened, even before the shit went down, I felt it. I was like, dog, I was like, what the fuck is you doing? This ain't right. But I'm just going to leave it at that. Like, the minute I hopped in that fucking car and left, like, the minute I turned around, I knew it was a bad idea. No way. That's why I tell you guys, make sure you listen to your conscience and your intuition. That shit will not let you down. It won't. Only way it's going to let you down is when you don't listen to it. That's a fact. And every time I took a big L, I always had the option to prevent that L. I always had that option to prevent it, but I never prevented it. I always let the L happen. That's why I always say self-inflicted. I always had the opportunity to get to avoid a situation. But for some reason, no way. Yeah, but see, I avoid L's now. I pay attention. But yeah, hey, Trinidad, that situation, it sent me to a dark place. That shit absolutely did. It contributed. It contributed, to what I already had going on my back and shit. Just Katrina just happened. I'm not blaming shit, but I'm just saying, well, if you don't address shit and you don't talk about shit and you just tuck shit away, that shit could add up and build in somebody. And I just had a lot right, and that was another shit right there that this is like the first time I really talk about it to the world ever. But it's not in detail. I'm just saying it was a situation, but it was a real life change, a life situation. I was a I thank God that I was out of that situation, but at the same time, it really that shit really fucked my head up for a minute. That's facts. That shit really fucked me up. It jammed me up for a minute. And then, you know, trying to come out of that shit, other shit. That's life. That's life. But I talk about it in the book, full detail. That's what's that's you know, I'm just cookie cutting it. No way. I remember what I was saying. I remember what I was doing. I remember everything. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, and yeah, and God is awesome. God definitely looked out for me that night. Like that's for sure. And anything different, anything different, anything different, I would not be here. I would not be here, no doubt. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm gonna leave it at that. I gotta split and get to my dinner date. You guys are awesome. You guys are really awesome. And take it for granted. Take it for granted for what I'm saying. Believe it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sharing shit out of my life. I don't mind talking about it now because I mean it's about to be in the book. It's about to be publicized. You know, all these events or whatever. This things. A lot of lessons. You know what I mean? And maybe somebody could learn off of my journey one day. Off of some of that shit. Like I said, it's shit. I mean, the way I break it, you know, I know when to be serious and I know how to be funny. You know what I mean? It's just in that situation right there. That's more of a serious moment. There's nothing to be. The situation I was in was nothing to be joking about. That shit was as ugly as it get. It was real ugly. You know, and a lot of that and I brought that situation onto myself because the only thing I had to do was just go in the club. That's the cold part. That's the cold part. And because I didn't do that, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time and got caught slipping. That's facts. So have a great night, everybody. Lily, FBT. All the good people. Don't take your life for granted. Try to treat people the same way you want to be treated. Pay attention to your life. Pay attention to your conscience and your intuition. You know what I'm saying? Look, you could be the best person in the world. You know what I mean? The devil, well, that doesn't mean shit. The devil will still throw bullshit out there to try to destroy you. And that's a fact. And I'm living motherfucking proof of that. No doubt. And you don't have to believe me. But I'm telling you in real time. You know, it's very important. Stand on your stand. Even when you felt like you lost your integrity, to make sure you keep your integrity and stand 10 toes down as a man or as a motherfucking woman. And don't ever let your worth get tampered with mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. That's facts. Hey, if you got any worth to yourself, the bullshit gonna come at you. It's always gonna come at you. If you have any real value. And it's all about how you deal with it and control it. Let me get out of here, you guys. Have a great night. I've been talking too much on this stream. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.